Hello Year 6 and welcome to Friday's English lesson, and today it is time for us to create our own explanation text that could be included in this mystical book to help humans identify those peculiar lost things.
I took the lost thing over to Pete's place. Pete has an opinion on just about everything. Cool, he said. Pete didn't know what the thing was exactly, but he said what he always does, that all physical manifestations could be identified empirically through careful observation, calibrated measurement and controlled experimentation. In the end, Pete just shrugged. He didn't think the lost thing came from anywhere and didn't belong anywhere either. Some things are like that, he said. They're just plain lost.
You're going to use your excellent planning that you created yesterday to write your own 4-paragraph text to explain all about your lost thing's appearance and materials, personality and behaviours, any unusual features it may have, and finally, what the reader should do if they find it, and how should they handle it. First, I want to take you through the checklist for the writing today so that you know what you're going to try to include in your writing. You'll find the checklist on the Google Drive. So firstly, we're going to make sure that we separate our paragraphs for different aspects of the subject, and if we follow our plan, we shouldn't have any problems writing 4 different paragraphs to do that. We're going to use our planning and our knowledge of technical vocabulary to make sure that we keep this text very, very formal, use subordinating conjunctions, use detailed and descriptive language, lots of adjectives, lots of adverbs. We want to describe this beast as best we can. Try to use a simile in there if you can, and go with your full range of punctuation. In non-fiction texts, there should be every type of punctuation, probably apart from speech marks. We want you to try and use parenthesis, so add some extra detail using brackets, add some extra detail using a dash, and try to use a range of different clause structures in your writing. Now it's time to get started. I want to show you how I'm going to use my plan from yesterday to write the text while really thinking about how to weave in those key things from the checklist. Now I want to give you as much time as possible to work on your own, so I'm going to read my model for you and show how I created the final paragraph after this. So here's my plan and sentence openers that you'll find on the Google Drive as well, which will be really, really helpful to you. You can pick as many of these as you like to lead yourself into different interesting sentence types. So I've just taken this small section of my plan here so that you can see I'm going to make sure that I include all of these details, and I'm thinking about the checklist from the drive as I write. So here's my first paragraph. This extraordinary and gentle creature can easily be recognised by its enormous spherical shape and eye-catching metallic structure. So straight away I've got my technical vocabulary in there, my compound adjective using a hyphen that I've worked on, a bit of technical vocab in metallic which I had here. Upon first glance, you will notice one large rotating eye which seems to blink and gaze intently upon its surroundings. In fact, this interesting bulbous cyclops has the ability to rotate its eye a full 360 degrees. Here's the parenthesis that your checklist asks you to include. I'm putting some detail in brackets, much like a globe spinning on its axis, and this provides the lost thing with an excellent viewpoint on its surroundings at all times. Look more closely and you will see 4 thin fleshy tentacles, as well as a serpent-like tail, used for grasping things that it may find, such as small pieces of metal, and to steer itself through the skies. Now I've used a dash to add these clauses in. The entire body of the beast appears to be moulded from aluminium encasing a helium-powered engine. Got a semicolon here because I'm joining 2 independent clauses together. The engine fuels this incredible soul and enables it to float freely in the air like a wonderful party balloon. Here's my simile, like a wonderful party balloon. Now I think I missed a comma out there. I wonder if you can spot where I missed it. Second paragraph then. This is where I'm thinking about its personality and its behaviours. Upon getting to know this lost thing, it will be immediately obvious how kind-hearted and placid this creature is. Lots more description. It's a placid critter, kind-hearted. I've hyphenated those two. It is rarely startled or defensive and loves the company of other lost things and even humans. Although number 246 is one of the largest lost things you may encounter, they have many friends. This is due to their fun-loving and placid natures. Now I think I can hyphenate fun-loving, so I'm going to put that in. Just there, as I'm reading it, I'm just spotting what I need to edit. Unlike some of the other more timid beings, this curious creature has a thirst for knowledge which causes it to be extremely interested in the world around it. Parenthesis again, adding in some interesting detail in brackets. Sometimes they can even be found staring through windows as they just love to find out more about the human world. Now I know I missed a comma again. Unlike some of the other more timid beings, I think this needs a pause here. I think I'm going to put a comma in there. Paragraph 3. Oh. Seems to have... Upon closer examination, you will discover that they have several rather unique and fascinating features which set them apart from others. Firstly, focus upon the undercarriage of the beast and you should be able to locate a small hatch in the smooth metal. This hatchway unlocks with the turn of a tiny brass key and exposes the control panel. The control panel reveals that the helium-powered bulge bottler is analog programmed and is driven by one large combustion engine. Scattered around the circumference of the lost thing are hundreds of smaller, multicoloured eyes which it uses to provide it with 360-degree sight. It is thought that this creature needs this feature to protect itself from predators. However, as they have such a fun personality, they are universally loved by all other lost things and do not have any enemies. Now I definitely need another comma in here to take a pause, so I'm just going to add that in. The last thing of note is that they have a keen musical ear and enjoy music of all types. You could even test this out yourself by singing or humming a song to this beast. You will find that they will join in with you in their melodic tone. I definitely need another comma here. Terrible at missing my commas out. Which may remind you of the haunting cries of a blue whale. Hopefully this is showing you that teachers too make mistakes. I've typed this quite hastily and now as I'm going back through it and reading it out loud, I can just see where I need to up-level my punctuation a little bit. Finally, on to my fourth paragraph. Now you'll find on the Google Drive there's a writing sheet for you to put all of your writing onto if you would like. You could just write this on any piece of paper and that's equally fine. This is the fourth paragraph that I'm writing then, that if you find it lost, advice section, the final cautions that you want to give the reader, and I'm just going to make sure that I keep that to one side, so I'm checking those things off, because really all I'm doing today is referring back to my plan and putting all of those things into proper sentences and making sure that I've got technical vocabulary, I've got my subordinating conjunctions, I'm using detailed descriptive language, I know I've already got my simile in there, I'm checking for a full range of punctuation as I go, I know I've got hyphens already, I know I'm checking my commas, I've already got my brackets in there for parenthesis and I've added a dash to add another clause, I've used a semicolon to join two independent clauses as well. Your range of clause structures will really come from you using those sentence openers that we showed you before. So, time for me to show you the process while I'm writing this final paragraph. Right, I'm going to start this paragraph with a question. I've had no opportunity to use a question mark yet, and I think this is the perfect opportunity because I'm leading this paragraph in and letting my reader know that this is where they're going to find some advice. So I've begun with, what should you do if you find this lost thing? You might think of a question that would lead your way into this conclusion quite well. Firstly, apologies. Firstly, do not be intimidated by the size and scale of this creature, as they are exceptionally easy to capture. All you need to do is simply ring a bell or sing softly, and it should follow you happily to the Federal Department of Odds and Ends, where it can be properly dealt with. You need to tell your reader exactly what to do, and the Federal Department of Odds and Ends is that strange, dark-looking place where the lost thing was led to. However, take caution. Now, I haven't had an opportunity to use an exclamation mark yet, and this paragraph is all about command sentences. You're telling your reader what to do, so it felt like a very good opportunity to get an exclamation mark in. Caution. Do not try to hurry or touch this lost thing, as they do not take kindly to this and prefer to move at their own pace. You need to tell your reader what they should not do here, and why. Any mistreatment will cause it to levitate higher into the sky, where it will be more challenging for you to communicate with it. Tell them exactly what they shouldn't do. And then, what they can do if things go wrong. There's lots of modal verbs in this paragraph. Should this happen, be prepared to tempt it back down with treats such as, great opportunity here to use a colon to introduce a small list of what they could give it. So I've decided for mine, it's going to be tempted back down with small screws, electrical filaments and copper wire. And that's another punctuation type that I'll be able to tick off my checklist. Once you have it under your control, you must lead it immediately to the FDOE. Now, I didn't want to write Federal Department of Odds and Ends again, so I've gone for an acronym here and I've abbreviated it. Final bit of word of warning for my reader. Under no circumstances should you attempt to take this beast home with you. The helium-powered engine could start a fire and destroy your property. And that's it. That's all you're going to need. Once you have written your entire piece, you're going to use your checklist and you're going to go back through. Let me move my writing out of the way so that you can see the checklist there. You're going to go back through your writing, read it carefully. Have you achieved all of these different targets for your writing? And it's a good opportunity as well to check that punctuation, check it makes sense, and go back and up-level any weak vocabulary. Make sure that you've gone for the most formal technical vocabulary that is possible. And that's it from me this week. A huge well done to you all for all of your work in English. I've seen some incredible efforts both in school and sent to the teacher's email. Keep up all the hard work, everyone. I can't wait to see your finished pieces of writing.